The blank forms a physical barrier between the body and the outside world. For this reason, it is the body's first and most important line of defense against infection. Is it A, white blood cells, B, muscles, C, skin, or D, lymph nodes? Let's look at these choices one by one. Our white blood cells do help us fight infection in many ways, including recognizing foreign particles, eating them, and making antibodies. However, they are located deep within our body and do not form a physical barrier between our body and the outside world, so they are not our first line of defense. The same goes for lymph nodes. They help us fight infection by acting as filters that trap germs and activate the creation of antibodies. If our lymph nodes are swollen, that's actually a sign that they're currently very active and that they're probably trying to fight off an infection. However, again, they are deep inside our bodies, so they can't physically be our first line of defense. As for our muscles, well, they don't really have much to do with our immune system. They have very important roles in our body, but fighting off infection isn't really one of them. How about our skin? Well, when you think about it, it is literally, physically, what stands between our bodies and the outside world. First of all, it's waterproof, and as long as it's intact, our skin is very tough for germs to get through. Our sweat contains enzymes that can break down the cell walls of bacteria to kill them. And our skin even has resident good bacteria that help us fight off harmful bacteria. You can think of our skin as the thick wall around a castle or town. Without it, invaders would find it very easy to get in and take over. So, the answer to this question is C, skin. True or false? Hydrochloric acid, which is also known as muriatic acid and is used in many household cleaning solutions, is also used by the body to protect itself against pathogens. This is actually true. The cleaning solution that we call muriatic acid, which we use for stuff like cleaning our bathrooms and removing stains and mold from various parts of our house, is more formally known as hydrochloric acid. This acid is also present in our stomach. There are cells in our stomach called parietal cells, and it's actually their job to produce muriatic acid every day. Which is kind of mind-blowing, right? Like, if you have muriatic acid at home, you'll know it looks really toxic and has a really strong and pleasant smell. And this is something that we naturally have in our stomach. So the hydrochloric acid in our gastric juices helps us digest food, particularly protein. And it kills most of the germs that enter our body in the food we eat. In this way, it is a very important component of our immune system. As you can tell from its smell, hydrochloric acid is a very strong acid, and so it can be dangerous. Our stomach protects itself from its own acid by secreting mucus, which forms a protective layer around the cells that line the insides of our stomach. Obviously, this doesn't mean that we can just drink hydrochloric acid if there are germs in our body that we want to get rid of. Let's not be stupid. Our stomach environment is very delicately balanced, such that we have just enough acid at just the right times. Our entire body, in fact, is all about keeping the right balance and the right timing of things, so let's leave the muriatic acid to household cleaning. Also, while our stomach is protected by a thick mucus layer, our skin and our eyes don't have that protection, so hydrochloric acid can cause irritation to our skin and our eyes. In high concentrations, it can even result in severe chemical burns and eye damage, so we should be very careful when using it. True or false? A fever can help the body fight infection. Actually, this is correct. We have this tendency to think of fever as an illness, and that's understandable because fevers tend to make us feel really bad. But actually, it's a sign that our body is trying to fight off an illness or infection. It's actually our immune response that intentionally raises the temperature of our body. Why does it do this? Well, most of the viruses and bacteria that infect us operate really well and reproduce fastest at our normal body temperature. By raising our temperature, our immune system stresses out pathogens and slows down the rate at which they reproduce. At the same time, the higher temperature gets our immune cells to work better and move faster. All of this gives our immune system a better chance at being able to contain and eventually kill off the viruses and bacteria that infect us. So, it's true, fever does help the body fight infection. There are certain kinds of white blood cells that go to areas of inflammation and eat pathogens, foreign particles, and dead cells. The cells that do this are called blank. Is it A. Lysozymes, B. Erythrocytes, C. Myocytes, or D. Phagocytes? Let's look at the choices one by one. The word erythrocytes is just another term for red blood cells, so they are obviously not white blood cells, and so the answer is not letter B. In the same way, myocyte is just another term for a muscle cell, so the answer is not letter C either. By the way, you'll notice that the presence of cyte usually means that it's a type of cell. Next, lysozymes actually do have something to do with fighting off pathogens, but they are not cells. Rather, and the zymes part of their name might have given you a clue, lysozymes are enzymes found in our sweat, mucus, tears, and saliva that help us fight off infection by breaking down the cell walls of pathogens. Again, they are enzymes, not cells, much less white blood cells, and so the answer also isn't letter A. The answer is letter D, phagocytes. The term phago actually comes from the Greek word for eating, and of course, cyte means cell. They're called eating cells because they ingest, that is, they wrap themselves around pathogens and other foreign particles and use different ways to kill them. It's estimated that 1 liter of human blood contains about 6 billion phagocytes. The process by which they engulf pathogens is called phagocytosis. And did you know that there are actually several types of phagocytes? If you're a phagocyte and you're very good at phagocytosis, you're called a professional phagocyte. But if you're not very good at it, then unfortunately, you're just a non-professional phagocyte. Seriously.